Hello everyone, welcome to today's session on Python. I hope you have enjoyed the previous sessions that we had so far. We talked about what is Python, how to install Python and how to install Jupyter notebooks. We also talked about operators, variables, etc. in our previous session, and I'm hoping that just a second. I hope you have enjoyed the previous sorry for that. So I'm hoping that you would have tried out everything back at home on your personal desktops or laptops, and I'm hoping that everything so far is all set and all clear. And today we are going to talk about another important thing that lays the foundation of any language, that is strings. So once you know how to operate on strings, how to slice them, how to manipulate them, etc., how to use different built-in functions on strings, the further process of working on different problems and different situations becomes fairly simple, right? So today we are going to talk all about strings in Python, how to declare them, how to use them, how to manipulate them in a way we want. All right, so starting off with the chat, let me see who all have joined me today. I have Supradeep, Nishant, Dinesh, Castro, I have Satish, Daya, Rising Star, and there is a Musaddiq, I have Pasha. Who else? Cool. Good evening, Ravi. We have Sanjoy. All right. So all that we have to do now, I'm pretty sure all of you are fairly comfortable with the Jupyter notebooks by now, but like I said in the previous session, today also I'm going to start on a Jupyter notebook and build it from the start, so that you see me how I'm actually building Jupyter notebook from scratch, and then later on you can go ahead and build your own Jupyter notebooks the way you want, right? So let me just switch to the screen now and keep posting whatever questions you have, guys, so that we can take them one by one. Okay. Alright, so as you see, this is the dashboard that comes up whenever you launch a Jupyter notebook. I'm pretty sure you know how to launch this. Okay, now let's go to Python live YouTube sessions. Alright, so this was our first setup, then we had operators and variables, and let's create a new Python sheet today that will talk about strings. Alright, so how do we... Cool. So let's say gonna talk about strings, right? Let me take them. Sudhanshu, hi. I'm a fresher. I'm thinking to go on Python. Give suggestions. Is it good for me? It is pretty good if you are if this is your first language, or if you are trying to work on let's say AI or ML or any other programming language, going in that direction, then Python is a pretty good step to start. All right. And yeah, so let me start off right here by building this notebook. So strings, as you see, the very basic functionality that you have to do is, let's say, print. So start off with, let's say we have to print any simple string. Let's say this is a Python tutorial. Now, all of you who have previously worked on some programming language know that it works only when there is double quotes, right? Generally the print statements have strings in double quotes. So let's run and see what the output is. So you get an output like this, right? What if your string also has a double quote inside? What do you do in that case? Then Python allows you to print a string in single quote as well. All right, so you can say this is a Python tutorial, and it works as good as the previous statement. So either you use double quotes or you use single quotes, you're good to go. Now let's say if something else comes up. Let's say we have a single quote inside our string. Let's say someone wants to type, I don't know Python. Where should I learn? All right. Now, although I have given this in single quotes, let me just run it and show you the output of it. This is going to give me invalid syntax because I have used a single quote in between my string as well. So what this print is considering is this from here to the first single quote that is closing is a string. Now it doesn't consider the rest of the string. So in cases like this, what you can do is you can use a triple quote like this. Fairly simple. Just use a triple quote, put the complete string that you have inside the triple quote. Now this, if you have single quote inside, if you have even double quotes inside, everything will run and you'll get the exact string as output. Now this I have shown you with double quotes. You can also use 3 single quotes like this and give your string inside this. All right, this will work as good as the previous statement. I don't know Python, where should I learn? Now it will print both your single quote as well as your double quote as part of the string. All right, now although you can use these triple quotes either double or single to print your string outputs. These are restricted or primarily used only to mark doc strings or multi-line strings. So by doc strings I mean if you have to say give some description of your function. That goes inside triple quotes. Or let's say you have to give, what is the other thing that we use for this is multi-line strings. Alright, so let me quickly show you an example of a multi-line string. Let's say we have a variable. Alright, this is Python tutorial. Today we are going to talk all about strings. Alright, what else? And we'll also look at some built-in functions for strings. Alright, now what will you get if you print where? What's the output you get? It's exactly those 3 lines that you gave to the variable where. You stored the string in the variable where, right? It will print all these 3 lines exactly in the order you initialized it. So this is Python tutorial in the first line, followed by today we are going to talk about strings in the second, and then follow it by we'll also look at some built-in functions for strings. Alright, so this so far is how you initialize or how you declare your strings in Python. Let me quickly jump back, take a look at what all questions do you have. All right. Oh, I guess there was some trouble with the session. I hope it is okay now. Okay, so far so good. Now let's go back to this. So like all languages, Python strings are also indexed starting from 0. But Python also has a very unique indexing system. Let me show that to you. Let's say you have a sample string called Python, right? Now the sample string Python, see how it will be stored. We just comment this out. Let's say we have Python, right? So the normal indexing that we have so far seen in all programming languages is you start with 0. So P is at 0th index. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct? So n is at the 5th index. Now Python also provides us with negative indexing. Now what do I mean by negative indexing? You can go ahead and see the last element of the string by typing -1. So n is -1, o -2, h -6, t, and so on, right? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and p will be -6. So let me just quickly type it out here for you. P is -6, then we have -5, -4, -3, 2, and 1. Now as you can see, the normal indexing starts from 0. So P is at index 0, whereas the negative indexing, when you're referring from backwards, it starts from -1. It doesn't start from 0. Remember this thing. It is not 0, -1, -2. It starts from -1 and then moves on to -2, -3, -4, and so on, whatever the length of your string is. Now, why do we need this negative indexing, or how does it help us? Let's take a look at that too. So let's say if consider sample being this string. Now sample is very small, which I have taken as an example. Let me quickly change it to something else. Let's say we initialize sample with, this is second Python tutorial on strings. All right. Now remember what is happening here is Python strings are immutable. Okay, by immutable I mean that when you assign a new value to an existing variable which already has a value, you are not replacing the value of this variable, you are creating a new object altogether. Okay, this is not replacing Python in the variable sample, but it is creating a new string altogether. That is what we mean by immutable. So now that we have changed our string to, this is second Python tutorial on strings, let's see how do we use indexing to take out characters from our string. Let's say we want to know what is the character at the 5th index. So what you have to do is print sample, like any other language, 4. So we start with 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the 5th character that is in the string would be at index 4. Fine. So we can simply print it out and check the value. Correct. And if you want to print from 4 till the end of the string, all you do is add a colon. So which means that this is the starting index, that is 4, and the end index is not mentioned. That means if the end index is not mentioned, it will go till the end of the string. That is second Python tutorial on strings. So 4th, correct, and till the end. Now let's say we have to do a range of this. We'll say sample 5 to, let's say, 10. So this will give us from 5 to 10. That is 5 characters. So the number of characters that are printed is equal to the end index minus the start index, that is 10 minus 5. So we have 5 characters out here, I, S, space, S and E. Fine. Now how does negative indexing help? Now let's say you want to print the last few characters starting from the second last or starting from the third last till the 8th or some character. So all you have to do is say sample, whatever position you want, say 8 till minus 4. Let's say we want to go from the 8th to the minus 4th index. That is it. So how do you know this is the correct minus 4? Just count backwards. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4. So minus 4 is excluded. It prints till str. Correct? So second Python tutorial on str. This is the simple way in which you can slice any string in Python. You don't have to write any loop or any conditions or anything. Simply have to mention from which index till which index. Let's say you want to say from start till the index 10. So say print sample. For start you don't have to mention anything. By default it takes 0 till, let's say, 15 and enter. So this will give you 15 characters from start till 15. Alright, fairly simple so far, right? Now another one more addition to this slicing we have is that we can provide how many character jump we want. So let's say if I say print sample starting from 0, or let's say, let me keep it blank for now, say assuming starting from 0 till the end, but print every second character. Don't print all the characters, print every second character. Alright, so whenever you leave the first index empty, that means you are starting from the very first character of the string, that is T here. Whenever you leave the second index empty, that means you want to run it till the end of the string, like we have done right here. We left the second index empty, so we printed the string till the end, right? And the third index that I have used right here now tells you which characters you want to print. So I said I want every second character, or let's say I want every third character, correct? Let's just shift enter, see the output. So you start with, let me scroll a bit up so we see our sample string. So we started with the first string, that is first character, that is T. Now jump to 3, that is 1, 2, and third one we print, that is S. Again jump 1, 2, third is S, right? So you see the output matches with what we are doing. Again 1, 2 and E, then 1, 2 and N. So this is the jump that you are doing. If let's say you don't want the whole string as output, you have some condition based on which you want to show the output. So you want to jump every 2 characters, you want to jump every 3 or 4 characters. That jump value you can mention as the third index after the colon right here. Alright, so these are the slicing operations of a string in Python. Fairly simple. Now let's say one more thing. Consider this is our input, that is sample, correct? Let me just print it here again for you guys. Sample. Okay, so this is our string sample. Now if I say print sample 100 index, what will be the output of this line? Sample 100, what will it print? Daya is asking if space is a character that is counted, sample 510 should start with the space. So let me just quickly go back to sample 510. This is where we have printed sample 510, right? So our starting index we have mentioned is 5. Now just count your string, that is T is the first, T is basically the 0th, then first is H, then second is I, third is S, fourth is your space, and fifth is I. So you start with I, you don't start with space. Remember that the indexing is starting with 0. You think that it should start with space because you, I think, have missed to account the 0. Since the indexing starting from 0, fifth is I. So from 5 to 10. So 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 is exclusive. It is not inclusive. So it will print till E. Alright. I think Daya asked this, so I hope now you're clear with why sample 510 is starting with I. Okay, so Rahul says the whole string will be printed. It will print one time and space. Dinesh says index error. Prasad says out of range. Exceptions, Rahul says exception arise here. So most of you are pretty clear that our index started from 0. We are not reaching till the 100 in this string, right? So let's see our error. It gives you an it gives you, so Python errors are very descriptive on their own. You can look at the error and you can figure out what is wrong with your code. Clearly says index error. That means there's something wrong with the index you are trying to access in the string. Okay, so if you index out of string, index out of range, we are not accessing the index that is within the range of the string. All right, fairly simple so far. Let's take another example. Let's say what will happen if we try to print this sample 1.25. What will be the output if I try to print sample of 1.25? Any ideas? Will it throw an exception? Will it print half the string? Will it print 1.25 of the string? What is gonna be the output of sample 1.25? Dinesh says type error. Anybody else wants to give it a try before I run it and show? Index should be integer. By now all of you should have replied to me if you have your systems by your side and you are actually doing what I told you to do. That is, keep executing the code side by side so that if you have any questions or doubts, you can simultaneously ask me. Okay, error, type error. Sarita says error. Alright, so remember the index that you want to print here, as I've shown you up here, the indexing is a whole number, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or it is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and so on. Correct? So 1.25 is not the index and that will give you a type error. String indices must be integers, always and always. So accidentally if you give something wrong like this, you immediately have the output. Now let's move on to another kind of operation that you would like to do on your string. Simple addition, right? You want to add something at the end of your string. Fairly simple, like any other language. So you just give the name of the string plus in the string addition and just give added string. So what will this do? Your string, this is second Python tutorial on strings, followed by at the very end added string. Simply it adds the string toward the end, right? Cool. What next? Let's take another example. Let's take a variable test. Okay, now if I say something like print, so addition we have seen, right? The plus operator works like this. If you have a plus operator, it will concatenate two strings. If I have a multiplication operator, let's say I write here var star 3, what is the output going to be for this? Var star 3. Any ideas? Puneet has asked, if I want to find the place of P in my string, how can I do it? Okay, meanwhile I get the answer for that, let me quickly show you how you get the position of P. Let's ignore this for now. So to get the position of P, there is very simple function. You simply say sample, that is your variable name that we have used, and type index. You want to know the index of P, right? And that's it. It will quickly give you the index of the character P in your string. So P is at the 15th index. Let's say we want T. The first occurrence of T is at the 17th index. P was at 15, right? So 15, Y is 16, and T is at the 17th index. Fairly simple function to give you the position of any character in your string. Moving back to what I asked, print where *3. Test will print 3 times. Abhishek is saying error. All right. Okay, Prasad is saying, I tried sample plus 3 threw me error, but how print where *3 worked? Hi Syed, good evening. Okay, let me first show you the output of this, and then Puneet, I'll come back to the question that you have. Prasad's question, sorry. Alright, so where *3, if you use multiplication with a variable in a string, it replicates the string as many times. Okay, so if you have *5, it will replicate your string 5 times. So you don't have to write it again and again and again. Simply say multiplied the string 5 times. Now Prasad, coming back to your question, what you are saying is you tried where +3, correct? Prasad, plus is a concatenation operation. So where +3 will not work because you are trying to concatenate a number to a string. So if you do this, you will get a type error, that is must be string not int. You cannot concatenate an integer to a string. You can only concatenate a string to a string. Whereas multiplication, if you again do this, or let's say you were trying with sample, right? Let's do with sample *3. If you do this, it is simply saying to your interpreter that you have to repeat the string sample 3 times. So it will repeat your sample string 3 times. Alright, like here. But addition won't work, as you saw in the type. It will throw you a type error that would say must be string not integer. Alright, so far so good. Now let us see another kind of operation that we can do. Let's say you have to check. Again, let me print the string. Okay, now let's say in the sample string that we have, which says this is second Python tutorial on strings, you want to check if the string Python is present in it or not. Okay, if the, or let's say if the character piece TUT, okay, is present in the string or not. There is a fairly simple and straightforward way to do it in Python. You simply say, let's say we have to check if tut, this string, is present in our sample. So you simply say tut in sample. Alright, it will give you true or false output based on whether there is this piece of string in your main sample string. See, you got true. Now let's say if we check for Python, what will be the output of this line? Now considering sample is this string, I've printed it here for you guys. If you do this, print Python in sample, what is going to be the output? Will it be true? Will it be false? Yes, Prasad, if you use dot index method that we saw, it will give you the first occurrence of that particular character. So if I go back and show it to you, if I haven't erased it yet, we did dot index on T. Now T is coming multiple times. T tutorial, 2 T's, then we have a T in the string, right? But it gave us the first occurrence, that is 17th index of the character T. True, true, true. Everybody is saying true. Rahul, Sarita, Prasad. So these are the questions that take your marks away in the written exams. Check the string very clearly. This is second Python tutorial. Now, although there is Python, check the case. This is uppercase, and what I am searching for is a Python string or a Python word with a smaller case. So this will result in false, not true. Alright, if you search for the correct, exactly matching the cases, that is capital Y, capital P, YTHON. If you do this, you'll get the output as true. Alright. Okay, what next? So like we have in, similarly we have a not in. So if I do this, Python not in sample. Now this will give me true because this string with small p is not in my main string, that is sample. So this will result in true. So that was about string manipulations and concatenation, etc. Let me quickly show you how you can go ahead and work with the built-in functions, which are many on Python. So let's take a look. Let's say sample dot, how you call any built-in function on your object, and just hit tab after you have pressed dot. So once you click on tab, you get this whole big list of functions that Python provides you to work on strings. Okay, so let's just start with the first one that we see right there, capitalize. All right, now simply run, and that is our capitalize function. You see, let's say if you want to check what the function does, say capitalize question mark and shift enter. Okay, so sample dot capitalize question mark, you get this whole documentation telling you what this function is going to do. Return a capitalized version of S, that is the string. Make the first character have uppercase and the rest lowercase. So you see, originally what I gave is, this is second, P was capital. Python tutorial on S was also capital. When I say capitalize, what it does is automatically makes just the first character of the string is capital and everything else goes into lowercase. So if you have to format, let's say, your documents, this is such an easy way to go ahead and do it. You don't have to go word by word or letter by letter. You can simply call the function capitalize on it. And remember, all the functions, you can simply just type question mark at the end and you get to see the whole documentation of what that particular function is going to do. Okay, let's take some other example. Let's say print sample dot. Again, after the dot, hit tab, you will get the whole big list of functions out there, right? So let's say we check is numeric. Okay, shift enter, false. Why? Because we don't have numeric anything in our strings. This resulted in false. Something else, let's say for example, so what I want you to do is go back and execute all these functions one by one. Okay, let's say lower. Now you don't know what this function is going to do. You cannot, let's say, make out from the function name what it is going to do. Just hit a question mark, shift enter, you get the documentation right there. Returns a copy of the string s converted to lowercase. Correct? Let's print it out, see if it converts our string to lowercase or not. Sample lower, right? So as you see, it converted our complete string to lowercase. Now similarly, like I said, there are multiple functions that Python already provides us with. We don't have to bother about writing the very basic functionalities to operate on strings on our own. All right. Now let's hit tab. Format. Let's say again you don't know what this is going to do. Let's just call the function. I also don't know what this is going to do. Okay, what I can do is go back. I'm repeating this again and again for you to remember that anytime you are stuck, all you have to do is this. So it gives you not just what the function does, it also gives you if function is taking any parameters as input or not. So s.format takes two functions, two input parameters, returns a formatted version of s using substitution from the first parameter and the second parameter, and the substitutions are identified by braces. Okay, so it will format your string. Let's say I give one parameter star, what will be the output? Okay, now let's say if I say here t, name error, again not defined. Let's say if I say this. Okay, so remember, whenever you are using any function that you don't know of, you are not sure about, you are a bit confused on how it works, what it does, just quickly do a question mark and you'll get to know the answers. Okay, Rahul is asking me, is the indexing can't be minus 0 in strings? I mean simple. No, Rahul, indexing starts from minus 1. Like I said, if you have not seen this, I'll quickly go back. Yeah, so the normal indexing starts from 0, but the negative indexing starts from minus 1. And for you, if you want to check minus 0, let's just quickly take a look. Print sample minus 0. All right, that is what you're trying to test, right? T. So now this is your exercise for this session to figure out why this is not giving us any error, why it is printing t. Where is this t coming from that minus 0 is printing? Okay, cool. And again, one more interesting question that Puneet has posted that I want to give you as an exercise for this session, and we'll take a look at it in the next session if you guys haven't figured it out by then. If, let's say, in the string sample, you want to capitalize P, all right, let's say the string sample is in all lowercase and you want to capitalize just P of this Python, or take any other string for example, okay, whatever string you like to take, and try out this as an exercise that you don't want the first letter to be capital. We have seen how to get the first capital letter, right? Capitalize does that for us. It makes the first character capital of the whole string. But let's say you don't want the first letter to be capital, you want a specific letter of a specific word to be capitalized. So every time Python occurs, you want P to be capital. How will you do that? All right. Cool. So that was about string, guys. We saw how we declare strings in different ways, single quotes, double quotes. We can also use triple quotes, but that is limited to the use of wherever you are giving doc strings or whenever you are using multiple lines of strings, right? And then we saw how to slice strings using colon. We also saw how to manipulate strings using in or not in functions. We also saw how addition and multiplication work when you are operating on strings in Python, correct? And then we saw some built-in functions that are provided by Python library to work on strings, to make and break strings depending on how a user would want to use it, correct? So take it as an exercise till we meet in the next Monday session. Explore as many built-in functions of string as you can, because the more you know, the more it will be easier for you to down the line implement the programs that you want to write. If they involve string, you'll quickly get a click of, okay, that particular function of string I can use right here. Instead of writing 3-4 lines of code, I can just call a built-in function that will make my job easier, right? So that involves knowing you what all functions are there that can work on string. And another, this question posted by I think Puneet posted this, right? Yeah, so take any string or a paragraph, if it may please you, and try to make the first character of any particular word. Let's say pick up Python. If Python is coming 3-4 times in your paragraph, try to make that first character of the letter P as capital and everything else as small, okay? So if you guys keep the code handy, we'll take a look at it in the next session, and then we'll move on to the next session on Monday. Cool. That's it for today's session, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Bye bye and have a nice day.